If you think you have what it takes to play a superhero, we're about to prove you wrong. A lot of work goes into becoming a DC soup, and as the cast of Titans can prove, it starts long before the cameras are rolling. From saying goodbye to snacks to preparing for on-screen chemistry and a whole lot of fake blood, there are tons of crazy rules the cast of Titans needs to follow. These are the most shocking. Get in shape and witness the fitness. There's a reason that the Titans look amazing in those form-fitting costumes. They're totally ripped, which makes sense because you need to be pretty comfy with cardio workouts if your job was catching bad guys. But this presents a bit of a challenge to the actors who need to portray our favorite soups. To really look like superheroes means they need to start working out way before the cameras are rolling. And without real crime to fight, they have to settle for long hours in the gym. Each Titans cast member has a tailor-made workout to help them prepare for action scenes and epic stunts, and of course, to fill all that spandex. And now, courtesy of Brenton Thwaites, we know exactly what it entails. The actor behind Grayson is helping fight more than just crime. He's given us workout advice to help us all battle the bulge. So if you were wondering how to get a body like Nightwing, look no further.
Gonna start off with deadlifts, preacher curls, hammer. Then you're gonna finish off day number 1 with chin-ups.
And of course, he's not the only Titan that knows his way around a weight room. Joshua Orpin has undergone quite the body transformation to play Superboy. But he's also made us realize that looking good is about more than just exercise. You need to eat well too. Thankfully, Joshua has the simplest diet advice ever. Stop eating anything tasty. Who knew that being a hero required such sacrifice? And that's not the only sacrifice expected from the stars of Titans. This time, it's all mental. Research your backstory. Ask any comic book fan what makes a successful character, and they'll tell you the same thing. Backstory. There is always a reason for the ish that goes down in the DC universe. Every heroic deed or evil plan was caused by something. That's true of the Titans too. The entire team's backstories are pretty well documented in the original comics, which really help the actors get into the right mindsets for their roles. For Brenton Thwaites, that means channeling his struggles to live up to a father figure with as huge a shadow as Batman. The actor admitted that playing Nightwing requires a lot of gravitas, but not all backstories are so dark. Some hint at romance born in shared experiences, as Tegan Croft and Ryan Potter learned when they were cast as orphans Rachel and Gar. So before the cast even got to see a script with their lines, they needed to know their character's history. And that meant research. Curran Walters, who plays Robin 2.0, explained, "I did a little research before I auditioned. I was familiar with the show, but I wasn't all that familiar with the character." He wasn't the only one to do a little digging. When Alan Ritchson heard he'd landed the role of Hawk, he actually called the creator of the Titans comics, Jeff Johns, to ask for comics featuring his on-screen persons. And Jeff delivered, with a single comic book, so not much to work with. Others were luckier. Minka Kelly had the same idea when she was cast as Dove, but her request for background reading was way more successful because she was sent over 80 comics featuring Dove to get to grips with the character's story. If only someone had told Tegan Croft that was an option. When she heard she had an audition to play Raven, the actress acted immediately. "When I got the audition, me and my father went to the comic book store and we got the first volume of the Teen Titans series and the Raven spin-off series. I did my research, definitely. But the backstory's important for another reason. It's what the fans want. Just ask Tegan."
Just staying true to the original source material is just such an important part of it.
Another important feature is making the character your own. After all, the backstory is important, but it's just a guide. As Tegan explained, owning the role is easier than you'd think. You get into a rhythm. As soon as I step on set, I'm not really Tegan anymore, I'm Raven. But just because you know the history of your on-screen persona doesn't mean there are no surprises. Be prepared for crossovers and new stories. Just because these actors know about their characters' pasts doesn't mean they can predict the future. That job belongs to the writers and the bigwigs at the studio. And while DC has already broken our hearts by confirming that Titans won't have an epic crossover with the rest of the Arrowverse, like The Flash or Supergirl, that doesn't mean we'll never see familiar faces making a cameo. It might just take a little work. You see, Titans showrunners Greg Walker and Sarah Schechter revealed that there's more to a crossover than it seems. Both shows need to take place, in the same timeline, and in the right way. As Sarah explained, there's only really one network that Titans can cross paths with, and it's home to the Arrowverse. Ah, the irony. She added, "We can do the crossovers on the CW because they're all in Vancouver and that makes it easier, but it's still nearly impossible." She speaks from experience, because it already happened. Way back in Season 1, Titans viewers were introduced to the cast of Doom Patrol, a group of super misfits who now have their own show. But that only worked because comic creator Jeff Johns was a fan of Doom Patrol, and in his opinion, to not do the crossover would have been a shame. Or is the real shame that this might just be the last time we see two worlds colliding on screen, at least as far as Titans is concerned? Then again, we don't really need crossovers. The Titans can hold their own, especially when there's romance involved. Chemistry is really important. There is an essential ingredient to making an on-screen romance work, and it's not about how hot the actors are. Instead, it's all down to their chemistry together. The cast of Titans must all have been science majors at school because the chemistry is real. According to Greg Walker, the actors really bring their A-game when hearts are involved. He explained that his favorite on-screen couple is Dove and Hawk, played by Minka Kelly and Alan Ritchson, just because of how well these two actors get on. Although for the talent involved, there's more to it than that. Alan revealed, "It's pretty simple from my point of view. He's head over heels in love with her. Some of that is born from his codependency." And Minka supported this with a shocking revelation, calling it a very flawed and damaged relationship. I relate to that. I've had my share of codependent, toxic relationships. But Best Couple is a hotly contended title. Tegan Croft explains that Raven and Beast Boy should get a mention because, as the actress shares, Gar is the only one who can make her smile and make her happy. Of course, for the majority of Titans viewers, the show's romance isn't the main attraction. They come for the ass kicking, making our next rule really important. You gotta be okay with violence. Titans is definitely not for the whole family. The R-rated show has made quite a name for itself with its love of bloody violence and creative swearing, and we've really seen it all. Think about it. There's Robin's bloodlust, which has been so bad we've seen him beat an entire gang, including bashing faces into walls and heads through windows. And then there's the rest of the team. You don't get to be a superhero without throwing a few punches and dropping a few F-bombs. But as Brenton explained, I need to say what's written on that page. If I didn't, I'd be fired. Either way, some cast members are a little more excited to throw their fists around than others.
Brenton went in on these fight scenes. I was able to witness them in real life.
I enjoy it. You know, that's part of my job that I really enjoy and I think that I'm good at. The acting I suck at. But the physical stuff I can do, so I'm just lucky that they wrote a lot for me.
He isn't the only actor to appreciate a little gore. As Alan Ritchson explained, sure, it's a violent show, but it's a violent world. Why shy away from the stories that really exist? We see ourselves in these broken characters and in this broken world. However, that doesn't mean the whole gang is bloodthirsty. Minka Kelly's character is actually a pacifist compared to the rest of them, and she's pretty proud of that. In fact, she told Comic Speed, "It's an honor to play a female character who is nurturing and warm and calm, who will also fight and be tough when she needs to be." Now that's quite the delicate balance. And speaking of sensitive matters, there's no time to waste. Having strict deadlines amid a global pandemic may sound like a recipe for disaster, but it really isn't for the creatives behind Titans. While other shows were forced to stop production because of the virus, Titans had already gained an advantage by speeding up the casting process. For the majority of the talent, the actors went from auditioning to costume fittings within a week. That must be some kind of record. As Ryan Potter explained, his first interview for Beast Boy occurred via Skype, and just days later, he heard back. "I never got that message of, 'Congrats, you got the role, blah blah blah.' That's usually what you get. I just got, 'All right, this is the address of the costuming. Fittings start on this day.' It was straight to work." Honestly, that should have been a hint about what to expect on set, because these guys are changing the definition of hard work. And our proof also comes from Ryan, who explained, "We had those 16, 18-hour shoot days starting at 6 in the morning. But why all the long hours? Because there's so much to cover." As the series co-creator, Akiva Goldsman, joked, "The first season was really just a 12-hour origin episode. It's a brand new story. Where we start, there's so much room to travel. And with so much traveling to do, the cast has no choice but to put in the hours." But did you know that the cast is making headlines for more than just their enviable work ethic? They're also breaking Hollywood's ideas about equal representation. Diversity is the order of the day. One of the best things about superheroes, with the obvious exception of superpowers, is how diverse they are, and the Titans are no exception. After all, the comics feature a Beast Boy and Starfire, an orange-skinned beauty who can harvest the sun's rays. So when the casting directors announced that they were looking for a diverse cast, this included an Asian actor to play Beast Boy, a Hindi actress to play Monica Saini, or a deaf actor fluent in sign language to play Max. Fans were impressed. But not everyone was happy. When Anna Diop was cast to play the orange-skinned Starfire, haters were quick to blame the series of blackwashing, exposing the actress to a bunch of trolls. Thankfully, she's not keeping quiet about it. After deactivating the comments section on her Insta page, she fired back at the haters.
Too often, social media is abused by some who find refuge in the anonymity and detachment it provides.
She adds that cruel comments said more about her critics than her. Ryan Potter has her back, explaining that he's proud to be a part of a show that properly represents what the world looks like.
I understand comic book fans are passionate and they want their characters to look a certain way, but it's time to break certain molds, and I think Titans is a perfect title and team to do that with.
And with new seasons in the works, the future of Titans promises to be even more diverse. What's not to love? For more of the strict rules behind your favorite shows, check out our other videos. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, stay awesome.